Welcome to the second video of Subjonctif, where we are going to discuss the triggers of subjunctive that are dealing with our heart, with the emotions or will or desire. I'm going to separate this part into two videos, the will or desire and the second video about the emotions. So in this video, let's talk about will or desire, okay? If you have a wish or a need that you really want something to happen, it's a will or desire. It returns to your heart. If you have a request from someone, you want them to behave in a specific way, so it's also will or desire. It has to do with your heart. When you're suggesting someone something, you like them also to do something in a specific way. Or when you have an expectation also, and where you are giving a permission to someone or prohibiting someone to do something, these are all wills or desires that you want something to happen in a specific way. All of these have to do with your heart, and since it is kind of an emotion, they all carry a load of uncertainty, so they are all triggering the subjunctive. Okay, so let's look at the first category, which is wish, preference, or need. Okay, vouloir que, to want, souhaiter que, to wish, désirer que, to wish, to want, avoir envie que, to really want something, aimer que, to like something to happen, aimer mieux que, to prefer, préférer que, to prefer, tenir à ce que, to really want something, to be anxious for something to happen, or avoir besoin que, you need something to happen. Let's look at some examples about these. Tu veux que je fasse quelque chose à manger cette soirée? Do you want me to make something this afternoon to eat? So you're asking, do you want? Wanting is a will or desire, okay? And since you have a main clause here, you have your trigger here, and you have your subordinate clause here, as I explained in the introductory video, you are triggering the subjunctive in the subordinate clause, okay? The second example, habituellement, les parents souhaitent que leur enfant soit mis en détention. Usually the parents wish that their children is put in detention because they want them to learn the discipline. So this is wanting. A will or desire returns to the heart, carries uncertainty, it triggers the subjunctive. Je préfère que notre voiture ait un système de navigation. I'd really prefer that our car had a navigation system. You prefer, you want. So uncertainty, subjunctif. Les entreprises tiennent à ce que leur banque de données agisse aussi secret que possible. Aussi secrète que possible. Okay? The companies are really anxiously want that their data banks act as secretly as possible. Okay, I didn't make this red, but it should be. Okay, here, so as you can see, this is subjunctive. Since you have this here, this is wanting, and you have your trigger here, que, okay, it triggers the subjunctive here. Les étudiants ont besoin que leur laboratoire soit fourni con les dernières technologies. The students have the need that their laboratories are furnished with the latest technologies. This is a need, so it is kind of will or desire and returns to the heart, uncertainty, subjunctive. There is also, as usual, an exception, which is the espérer. Okay, espérer doesn't trigger the subjunctive, and we're just going to have to remember it. You usually use a normal verb or a future verb, like j'espère que vous allez bien. I hope that you're doing okay, you're alright. J'espère que tu te sentirais mieux aussitôt que possible. I hope that you feel better as soon as possible. Nous espérons que votre Noël sera joyeux. We hope that you have a good Christmas. So neither of these are subjunctive because it is espérer. In our second part, we have a request or a claim. We want someone to act in a certain way. We want something to happen. Okay, demander que, ask or demand. Exiger, exiger que, to demand. Ordonner que, to order, to command. Commander, commander que, to order or to command. Insister pour que, to insist that something happens. Prétendre que, prétendre que, to claim that or to aim for. Like you're claiming that something's happened. Okay, all of these are requests or claims, and they are returning to your heart, since they are kind of emotions, all of them. Okay, let's look at some examples. Je demande que vous soyez prêts à aider les gens qui arrivent. I'm asking you to be ready to help the people who arrive. L'enseignant exige que nous sachions le subjonctif. The teacher is commanding us, exige que, okay? He really insists on, demands that we know the subjunctive. Le client insiste pour que nous lui donnions un garantie moins cher. The client is insisting that we give him a less cheap guarantee. Okay, insister, wanting, hard, uncertainty, so you have to use subjunctif. Les témoins prétendaient que les suspects aient eu une arme. Okay, this is a special case, which is subjunctif passé. Subjunctif passé means that this is happening before this one. So we are taking the usual passé composé and we are turning just this part into subjunctif, since this is happening before this. So the witness was claiming that the suspect had a gun. So when the suspect was claiming it, he was in the court, okay? But what happened was before the witness was in the court, like the night before. So this happened before this one. So we are using subjunctif passé. The past subjunctive is going to be explained in the final videos, but I'm going to prepare you from now on, give you some examples in the way so that we are getting ready better. Okay, a suggestion. The advisor has a desire that someone does something in a specific way. When you're suggesting someone something, you're telling them to behave in a specific way. You have a desire, it returns to your heart, it's an emotion. So it's uncertainty and subjunctif. Conseiller que, to advise. Suggérer que, to suggest. Proposer que, to suggest. Recommander que, to recommend. Je recommande que tu dormes un peu au lieu de prendre des aspirines. Okay? Je recommande que, trigger, emotion, because it's a suggestion, you're suggesting que tu dormes. This is subjunctif. I suggest that you get some sleep instead of taking aspirins. Okay? Expectations. Alright? This is stronger than a suggestion, because you're expecting someone to do something. S'attendre à ce que, to expect. Attendre que, to wait till something happens. Veiller à ce que, to make sure or ensure that something happens. These are all expectations. Okay? Certains s'attendaient que l'Union européenne agisse plus rapidement. Some people were expecting that the European Union acts faster. Okay, for example, in the Ukrainian crisis, people were expecting that the European was acting faster, and these two here, let me explain. Let me first give you why it is subjunctive. S'attendait, expectation, will, desire, triggers subjunctive, agis, okay? And these two are happening in the same time. And both of them are in the past. But agis is the subjunctive présent. If you're talking about the past, but the two actions are happening at the same time, you're still using the subjonctif présent. Because that's how it is in the parole quotidien, in the everyday conversations. Okay, it's like in the usual conversation, you don't use passé simple, you don't use simple past, you use passé composé. So in subjunctif, it is also like that. We only have two forms of subjunctif: subjunctif présent and subjunctif composé, passé composé, like the example I told you before. Either one is happening before the other, or they are happening both at the same time, like in this case. I am again going to explain this in the final videos, but I am only preparing you. If it is happening in the past, but it is at the same time with the main clause, we are using subjonctif présent, but we are indicating the past, okay? Les gens amoureux attendaient que le système devienne fonctionnel. Les gens amoureux attendaient que. Attendez, we're expecting that, this is the trigger, devienne. They were expecting that the system becomes functional. This is subjunctif. Nous veillerons à ce que vous arriviez à l'heure à l'aéroport. Okay? Veillerons. We will make sure. As you can see, this is the future. Futur. Okay? À ce que, a trigger, arriviez, subjunctif. So no matter what time this is in, since it is an expectation and it is a will or desire, returns to the heart, uncertainty, we have the subjunctive. Let's go to permission or prohibition. This is even stronger than an expectation. You are giving permission, or you're prohibiting someone from doing something, like permettre que, to allow, permit, défendre que, to forbid, empêcher que, to prevent, interdire que, to forbid. Like, l'entraîneur ne permet pas que je dorme moins de 8 heures. First of all, let's again get a review. L'entraîneur, one subject, je. So these are two different subjects, right? So it is nice to look at it. You have the trigger here. You have the main clause, you have the subordinate clause, you have the different subjects. Ne permet pas. So it is prohibition. You have the trigger, dorme, okay? This is the subjunctive. Les parents permettent que leurs enfants jouent 2 heures avec l'ordinateur. The parents permit their children, the trigger, to play 2 hours with the computer. So it triggers, since it's a permission, it triggers the subjonctif. La loi interdit qu'on achète une voiture sans avoir un permis de conduire. Okay? The law forbids that someone buys a car without having a driving license. You have your trigger here, interdit, prohibition, achète. Achète is the subjunctif. So here are some exercises for you, which you can do, and you can pause the video, you can do them, and if you need help with them, you can use these websites to check the form of subjunctive for each verb, get some translations from these, get some examples maybe, or make sure that a phrase has subjunctive after it with this website. In the next video, I'm going to talk to you about the emotions.